Hey, what's up, Internet? Welcome to Play It Painted Live. Here we get going with a Sunday night stream. Hope you guys had a good weekend this weekend. So tonight we're gonna start a big project, but I'm gonna tackle it in smaller pieces. Okay, so tonight we're gonna be working on some rising suns. This is the first time I'm gonna be working on any of these minis, and the way I like to tackle stuff like this is, again, I like to work from the bottom up in terms of what's my favorite, my least favorite to my favorite. All right, so tonight the plan is to try to tackle some of these, this Lotus clan here, which is kind of my least favorite of at least the clans in the main box, aesthetically speaking. It's not my favorite, so we're gonna get this going, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm not gonna try to push to finish these tonight. I actually kind of want to get a feel for the whole range. Like, I want to get a feel for what it's going to be like to prep and paint each of these clans, and what it's going to mean for me time-wise, because I still have commissions coming in, and this is a me project, so I'm going to kind of try to fit it in where I can, but it's never going to really get much priority. Okay, so that's the task for tonight. I'm going to try to find something I can use to apply this pumice, and it looks like there's a number of things I might be able to use in here. So let's see, something like that might work. That might work. This might actually work really well. Whoa! If it will sit on the table. Something like that. And I can just kind of wipe it off as I need. Yeah. Let's try that. Let's try that. It's already a ruined brush, so it's perfect. And it's kind of flat. And that sounds like a recipe for success to me. The next thing I need to do, I'm sorry I keep spinning around here on my desk, but gotta find my paint rag from the night before. There it is. So we're gonna put some gray pumice on these minis, and then we're gonna mount them. We're gonna mount them on these things, and then we're gonna prime them, and then we're gonna actually probably start a little bit of the painting. Probably won't finish anything tonight because we are starting late, and like I said, this is more of a let's figure out how to deal with this particular brand of minis. So I'm going to put this pumice down, and I'm going to put a really fairly thin layer down, because I don't need, I just wanted to break up the flat bases a little bit. It's going to allow me to kind of put ground effects on. It'll allow me to kind of flub a little bit the bottom of the minis, right? It's gonna give me a little bit of correction on the bottom, which is great. And what I don't want is I don't want these to look completely like built all the way up to the bottom of the minis. So these guys here they're kind of like Yajiri, it looks like, where they have like archer. And these guys are playing recorders, so maybe they're more like bards. I thought maybe these were like blowgun type weapons that they had, kind of like certain Yajiri from Ninja All Stars, that kind of thing. I think we're okay. So, hope you guys are having a great Sunday evening. Had a reasonably fun Sunday myself. Just went to attended a friend's kid's birthday party. You know, little wholesome family fun for me. But he is the dad is a close personal friend of mine. You may actually know him. He's actually one of my partners here over at Play It Painted. I'm talking about Phil, of course. El Guapo, for those of you who know our sort of internet IDs. Although I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. So if you're just joining us, welcome to the show. Welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting. Tonight we're doing a little paint and prep on this set of Rising Sun. Yeah, and this little busted brush is a great little tool here for this pumice, for the gray pumice that I'm doing. And again, I'm going with a really thin layer. Because it shouldn't be too much. You don't want to overpower the feet. Like, you don't want the feet to look like they're buried. But you do want the texture in there is nice because it'll break up the patterning, and you can kind of paint it to like a natural looking thing. You can, if you want, you can even stick like a little bit of flowers on the bottom. Might look kind of cool. This clan is sort of a Pepto pink. They look cool, but it's going to be interesting to, I have to kind of weave that into the appearance of the clan so that you can tell by looking on the board. You know, I'm also going to paint the rim of the lip this sort of Pepto pink, but I also want the players to be able to look at the minis and go, oh, okay, that's from the Lotus clan because they're pink. And I guess these guys are just regular Bushi. I'm thinking the guys with just these pole arms. Maybe I should base the next clan too. Might as well, right? I mean, this is kind of a prep and prime night. And you know, 10 of these, painting 10 of these should be fine, 10 at a time. It's a good number and you get the whole clan done. But there's no harm in doing, actually, no. We're not going to do that. We're going to stick to the plan of concentrating down on this one clan, getting them painted, and then figuring it out. Mostly trying to figure out what my timing is like on these. How long does it actually take me to finish a clan? What are some other steps in prep that I need to be aware of? What's the fastest way to get some of this like Japanese style armor done? That's the kind of stuff I'm looking at tonight. And again, I'm starting with the clan that I like the appearance of the least. That's usually how I do this. I want to get 4 clans painted up, such that the next time we have a game day, I can try to get somewhere between a 2 and a 4 player game of this going. And you know me, I don't want to play anything that isn't painted. So we had a small wave of visitors there, and they all took off. They saw what we're doing here, and they're like, nah. So this is the daimyo for this clan. Okay. And just get rid of this stuff. Alright. So now we're going to put them on the stands. We'll do the priming and the painting and all the other stuff you guys know and love. I'm going to put the fun tack here on these. Looks like the way these are going to mount. I'm just going to make big ol' lumps in the middle like that instead of on the outside. So these guys are going to be pink. What should the other major color be? They could be black and pink, which would be kind of cool. Or white and pink. Maybe light blue and pink. You know, trying to think of some good, cool schemes with pink. Maybe white and pink? White and pink might work. This lady saying, "We'll be dead. We'll be dead." So it sounds like she's saying to me, "We'll be dead." Nevertheless, I'm liking this like smooth, jazzy Sunday evening. It makes me feel like a proper old man to have this kind of music on. It's dope. It's dope. I would not tolerate this crap if it was like, you know, American smooth jazz or something like that. This is some serious smooth jazz, right? 98.7 or whatever. The smoothest jazz. Like, I would not be okay with this. Except, you know, this is a Japanese artist playing this smooth jazz. And I'm giving him a pass. Because I'm a racist. Whatever. That was a joke. People, relax. Alright. So now we're just gonna... Ah. These are cool, these little... I guess these are female bushi? So the idea is we should be able to paint most of these using airbrush or mostly airbrush. I just messed up that whole basing solution right there. Alright, so there are three major stages to this: airbrushing, dry brushing, and then shading. And that's it, man. I mean, these are generic board game pieces. They're high-end board game pieces, but they're generic board game pieces. And you can make them individually look really cool, but you don't have to. You know, as a set on the board, they're gonna look fantastic. You could spend a little extra time on the daimyo if you cared to. That's entirely up to you. Okay? Alright. So with that, let's go ahead and get the airbrush ready to roll. Still trying to think of what my secondary colors are going to be here. I think that armor is going to have to be like that barding. It's got to be either black or brown. Oh man, sorry. Wow, that cap was really messed up. Alright. This airbrush is about to die. So yeah, you know, I'll probably start purple, or no, I'm gonna do pink, and work my way down to like purple and violet in some spaces. Alright. A little too much. Alright. Just making sure everything looks good before I throw the primer down here. Sorry, these are... Let's go a little higher there. Alright. So I guess there's like 6 Bushi. And at least in the case of this clan, you have like 3 male and 3 female Bushi. Running out of primer here. Hey, what's up, Nelson? Welcome to the feed. Just working on a little rising sun. What are you working on? You doing anything tonight? I like that at least for now, there's exactly 10 miniatures per faction. Which is about the perfect number for me to do this sort of batch painting. I want to play games with you, but some friends I haven't seen for weeks went to Spectrum and saw Black Panther. It was okay, too much politics. I figured that was kind of my take on that movie. Sadly, I think that's the state of a good movie. A good Hollywood / Disney blockbuster movie is going to be, like, the better ones are going to be, it's okay, just too much politics. And the bad ones are going to be bad. They're going to be Last Jedi bad. Get used to watching bad movies until the market reports come down and you start to realize that the theaters are clearing because people are getting tired. And you can't be entertained anymore without being preached to. And that doesn't matter if you're talking movies. It applies to music, it applies to TV, it applies to, obviously applies to comic books, it applies to fiction. That's all it is now. Even sports. You can't be entertained by anything these days without being preached to about how you should vote, about how you should feel. It's disgusting. This is a dark age for entertainment. It's a dark age for science. It's a dark age for science. That's scary. And I know you're going, well, hey, we just, we were able to, Elon Musk send a car into space, and we've got, we were able to land a satellite on a moving asteroid. How can it be a dark age for science? Well, there's obviously going to be a lot of science that occurs, but there's a lot of questions that the scientific community is not allowed to answer honestly. And even within that community, their top minds argue amongst each other. You can tell Disney has hidden messages in there. Yeah, I'm not planning on seeing the movie anytime soon because I don't go to the movie theaters because I have 2 kids, but from what I heard is the Black Panther character kinda sucks, and there's a lot of sympathy for the main bad guy in this one. And so, some of the people reviewing the movie were saying, well, we think he's actually the good guy. Trying to mold the children the right way to think. Yeah, for sure. Isn't that weird, though? How that movie is supposed to be sort of a sucker punch to Trump and all this stuff, right? But it actually is celebrating a lot of really archaic themes with the sort of might makes right, lineage, bloodline type things. I find it interesting, just kind of how double-sided the message is. And this whole idea that, there's this amazingly wealthy, technologically powerful nation in Africa that's actually the, I do like the part when they call white people colonizers. Well, white people are colonizers. It's fine. But, oh man, I lost my train of thought. It'll come back. Anyways, here's where I was going. So, everyone says, okay, well, here's what an African nation would be if, the Europeans had never colonized Africa. They would be the richest, most technologically advanced civilization in the world. And if you take a theoretical situation like Wakanda, I like to call it Zamunda because I think of Coming to America, because it's the same thing. Zamunda and Wakanda are the same thing. It's this idea that there's a secluded nation in Africa that is richer and more powerful than any other nation in the world, but it's hidden, it's out of sight, and it's kept a secret from the entire world. It's an interesting concept to me because I think about it like, okay, let's say that's true. Let's say that was true, right? Wakanda or whatever is true, and it's just the most powerful nation in the world. If there's so many different ramifications towards that movie that at the end of the movie they come out and they say, oh yeah, we have vibranium, and we're going to set the world right. We're going to help the world, right? Can you imagine how unbelievably idiotic that would be to try to do something like that? To reveal yourself as there's some sound logic to why Wakanda hadn't revealed itself to the world up until now, right? I mean, there has to be. Why? Is it because the other nations, upon finding out that they have this rare, precious element that grants them technology beyond mankind's current capabilities? Is it because the other nations would converge on this nation and destroy it in order to take its resources? Is it because, you know, I'm not even talking the United States yet, but like, oh, I messed that up, hold on. But like, other countries in Africa, right? You don't think the minute that they come out, you don't think those other countries in Africa are going to be like, hey, let's go rob our neighbors. They have all this stuff. Let's band together and rob them. They're more powerful than any other nation here in Africa. Let's just take them down. You know, it's not. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you what the king decided. Well, yeah. I mean, don't you think that would be the first thing that would happen? Is it would such a revelation would cause world, you know, global war. And also, I mean, all the nations would come out and automatically hate Wakanda because they would blame all of the problems of the past century and a half on Wakanda. And the United States would be like, hey guys, guess what? Not our problem anymore. We're not number one. We're not footing the bill for you. We're not protecting you anymore. You got vibranium now. And we're going to try to trade and get some vibranium. But we're not number one. We're not top dog. We're not in charge. You guys do whatever you want. You guys do whatever you want. North Korea, take over South Korea. Well, hey, you know who could save you? Wakanda. Wakanda can save you. They're the best kid in the class now. Everyone blame your problems on Wakanda. You see what a massive problem that would cause if it were true. Like I said, not to mention, if you're in sub-Saharan Africa, one of the most impoverished and deadly places for humankind on Earth, you think you could just come out and tell your neighbors that have been starving, that have had widespread famine, whose countries have been riddled with both civil and invasive wars for the last, perpetually in wars, right? You come out and you find out, hey, my neighbor had the ability to save us time and time again. We put out the call for aid, and we were asking the UN for help. We were asking the United States for help. We were asking Europe, Canada for help. And here's Wakanda right next to us in our own backyard with the ability to save us the entire time, and they didn't? You mean to tell me that these nations in Africa would be like, oh, okay, sure. You guys are number one now. You guys are just going to come and help us, right? Furthermore, I don't quite understand how Wakanda can be that prosperous if it was that secluded from the world. They still have to engage in global trade in order for anything to be valuable. I mean, the only thing that they have of value is vibranium and, you know, some technology around it. But they would have to be trading that to be a true power, right? I don't know. Because like you said, it's nearly impossible and it's not Wakanda's duty. Funny thing, it's what exactly Trump felt. He stated that it must be a reciprocal mutual benefit. Why the U.S. is spending billions to help countries doesn't appreciate U.S. help, then turn around and give us a middle finger. Yeah, we are hated on the world stage. We're hated on the world stage, and everyone, you know, and Americans kind of, a lot of Americans hanging their head in shame, like, oh, Trump has embarrassed us on the world stage again. But not to realize that, you know, we fund a lot of the world's defense. A lot of reason why the world is still a free world is because we defend other nations, we defend other borders, and we're being asked not to defend our own, and we're being asked not to, not to meddle in foreign affairs until it comes time to foot the bill. right? Oh, wait. Until it comes time to foot the bill, then everybody's like, whoa. US, come on, buddies. Where are you guys? Come on, US. Right? Well, if there was a Wakanda, guess who would have to foot the bill? Right? Okay. What is this? Loose light gray. Let's try that. Leah said some Canadians were pissed that Trump said he wouldn't give Canada military aid anymore. I was like, it's not our duty to keep you safe. Yeah, dude. I don't know. We can start ranting about stuff like this, but I'm just saying, man. It's this great little fantasy to say I want to be the most powerful nation in the world, but yeah. Anyway, we're the reasons why certain nations around the world are kept free. Then the UN. The UN is a joke. I'm sorry, the UN is a joke. It's a joke. There's really no way around that. The UN is a joke. Like, seriously. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. It's a joke. Alright. Let's give this a generic gray zenithal. Anyway, happy Sunday evening. Thanks for the mortician. Hey, no problem. Hope you like them. That was a really fun project. And I'm glad. Hopefully they turned out the way you like. I think they're a really cool effect on the board. To the point where I wasn't willing to add like a third or a fourth color into the color scheme. Oh, powdery. Yeah, I don't like this. It's so powdery. Hold on. I don't like that. That's too powdery. Let's thin it out a little bit. Oh, Alexa's trying to talk to me. I don't know. I think I think about that movie and, you know, what it implies about the world stage and all that, and it's like, man, what a painfully naive view of the world. If you live in a poor neighborhood... Oh, is the decision on the color scheme? Oh, we decided to unify the entire team with that sort of ghost color scheme. Welcome to the feed, Blue Chessie. It's just, wow, this is really powdery and it's bugging me. Is it maybe... Maybe, and you came back to politicrap. Yeah, we're gonna cut the political talk. We just want to paint, Maine. I hear ya. Make with the paint guy. I just want to paint too, honestly. Well, we can talk trash. We can talk about games. We can talk about Guild Ball. What I love talking about. I can't really talk much about Rising Sun because I haven't played it yet. I've watched some reviews on it and some how to play it. It looks interesting. I don't know if my my miniature gamers, how they're gonna take to it. I think some of them will like it, other ones won't. Because it's more of a diplomacy style game than it's definitely not a combat game. I mean, there is combat in the game, but it's board game style combat where it's not really, you know, I'm gonna move my position and we're gonna roll dice and see who does what. And it's more like I'm gonna negotiate to be in this position, and then when it comes time for war, this is gonna be the way I execute my plan for war, right? So, not really a war game. Must be raining frogs. Batman, yeah. Batman's on sale, CQ tomorrow. I'm trying to figure out what I want to buy. Notice how it's just an automatic, it's a foregone conclusion that I'm gonna buy something. Alright. Alrighty. Are you gonna buy anything tomorrow, Nelson? I'm not sure. There's some stuff I've been eyeing. I don't know. I'm kind of knee deep in some other investments at the moment. Alright. I don't even know. We're not even on camera, are we? Jeebus. No wonder. No wonder. You guys aren't watching anything. Like, hey, asshole. Put your mini back on the screen. Alright. This is a daimyo. Pretty good. So you can see they're all kind of getting a zenithal. All right. So now we're gonna work on the main sort of the main undercoat color. So these are going to have a lot of pink and purple tones. I think pink is that kind of Pepto pink is where we're going to go. It sounds awful. I know, it sounds awful. Let's see. So I want pink to be the top layer color. The question is going to be, do I go with like a red base or an orange base? Or purple base? So I'm going to use this color. I'm going to use this sunset red. And we're gonna make a glaze out of that and spray it. Alright. If you're just joining us, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting and what you should be painting. Tonight, we are working on Rising Sun. The first time working with these minis. And I'm working on the Lotus clan, which is like a pink. And here's the interesting thing about cool minis. They have these weird colors for their factions. If you're talking, you know, this game, or Rum and Bones, or Blood Rage. So, all right, see how this works. We're gonna build some of this color. It's like the yellow, the pink undertone, right? Kind of cool, like shaded pink. It's kind of like the Good and Plenty clan. They're all black, white, and pink. Anyone like Good and Plenties? They're awful. They're like black licorice candies. I don't know. I used to get them trick-or-treating when you're a kid. And be like, at least I was like deeply disappointed every time I got Good and Plenty. I'd be like, oh, Good and Plenty. and me and my brother used to like torture each other with Good and Plenty, right? We would hold contests, like who could keep Good and Plenty, and you're supposed to take a handful of Good and Plenty and throw them in your mouth, and you just stare at each other, like, while this thing is like this disgusting flavor is like filling your mouth. They were definitely not good. We just called them Plenty. Like, what the hell? What a stupid name for a candy anyways, Good and Plenty. Man, it's not okay, people. It was not okay. So, we just called them Plenty, because they were definitely not good. And we'll figure out, like, what we were gonna do with this Good and Plenty. Yeah, so this is Clan Good and Plenty. Alright. Good and Plenty ninjas are pretty dope. Look at these Good and Plenty ninjas. These guys look decent. I mean, they paint up well enough. Alright, let's do the daimyo. I am Lord of the Pink Blossom. Alright. So now, we're going to take some pink, some actual pink, and we're gonna hit it like light spots in the model. Okay. This is where having a really, really cool pink is gonna work. And we're gonna use this guy here, squid pink. And we're just gonna see what kind of color we can generate out of this. And if this isn't light enough, we'll add a little bit of white to it. It's a pretty light pink. There we go. Okay, so the idea here. Whoa. All right. There's a lot of weird pinkness going on here. I can honestly say I have never done this color scheme for an army, ever. Ever. I don't know. I'm kind of getting excited. It might look cool. So remember what I said about airbrushing. You always go a little bit higher than you're supposed to. And then you shade your way back down to the color you were shooting for. It's kind of fun, man. It's kind of a fun pink. I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely good and plenty. Alright. Pretty good. Oh, let's hold on. This guy did not get enough of it. Alright. So now we're gonna do a little bit of white. The key is to try to do this without it. Actually, I don't. Yeah. I'm just gonna do a little bit of white. Alright. A little bit of airbrush thinner. Alright. Not too much. Alright. It's not even really showing up on these particular sculpts. That's fine. I do want to build it on the weaponry. Ah. It's not bad. It's running a little bit on some of this. Ooh, that's a lot of flash I probably should have taken care of, but... Dude, I am like way out of frame again. That's just too confusing that way. Am I just gonna have to keep the camera down? I think I need a little more white in this. Okay. I know I don't want it to powder, but it should at least form some sort of discernible film. You can see what I'm doing here on this guy. Clan good and plenty. Okay. So far, so good. So now, we're going to add some more shade to this sort of pink armor effect here. Sorry, I have to keep moving the camera. Alright. So we're going to add some depth, some shading to this. Okay, so I'm gonna get some violet ink, and we're just gonna hit shit like shadows. And you don't need much. You're just really trying to accentuate light and dark here, right? So the undergarments are going to be like more white. Maybe white or black, I'm not 100% sure. Black might be cooler. You see how that's... Alright. So you don't want to put so much of this on that it looks purple. Just enough so that you get a cool contrast between the pink and the purple. Do you think those undergarments should be white or should they be black? You guys tell me. It would be easier to paint them black, but I'm not sure what I want. I'm not sure. You guys tell me. The one thing that would be nice about having white is the models really would pop and they would look super clean if I did it that way. I could do, actually, they don't even have to be a true white. Like, they could be like a super light blue. I think I am gonna try white. Pretty good sculpts, man. So if you're just joining us, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting and what you should be painting. Tonight we are working on Rising Sun. This is the first clan I'm painting for Rising Sun, the Lotus clan. And I wish I could tell you more about him, but I haven't cracked the game yet. I just broke out the minis, started painting them. That's what I do. That's normal for this show. Just crack that open, get that painting going, man. All right. So yeah, I think I want like a really light tone for the undergarments. And provided I find a good enough light color, that is the plan. Let's see what we got here. I'm not going to do true white. I'm going to do something very, very close to white. And that will give me the advantage of allowing it to cover a little bit better, and it will reduce the chance of it being powdery. The question is, where is such a color? I mean, I can do this light gray. It's not terrible, but it would be kind of nice to have a little bit of a blue in there. Just a really, really, really subtle blue tint. But as always, the color eludes me. I mean, I could do... What color is this? So like gray-green, I could do something like that. I don't think that's... Here's what I want. Light blue. Alright. So let's load up some light blue, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So you're not going to see much of it here on the daimyo. See a little bit of it on the daimyo. Whoa. You'll see it a lot here on this guy. This is basically his pants. And then the armor will be more of a black color. So these guys really will be good and plenty the army. Anyone, honestly, that goes back to my question. Did anyone here like good and plenty? I need to know that. Because that's just not good candy, people. Like, that's not okay. Like, not once in my life have I ever heard anyone go, you know what would be perfect right now? A box of good and plenty. Not a lot of people are like, hey man, you know, they're at the movie theaters and it's like, oh, it only costs $7 for a box of candy. What are you gonna get? Oh, I know, Good and Plenty. Like, that doesn't happen. I got questions, people. People really like Good and Plenty. That's what I need to know tonight. And if you're not aware, Good and Plenty is disgusting, and it's not. It shouldn't be. It's just not okay. If you give people Good and Plenty for Halloween when they're trick or treating, I'm gonna go on record and say you're a bad person. So don't do that. Like, I'm not okay with Good and Plenty. Even if you're okay with the black licorice flavor, you gotta admit it's not a good. Good and Plenty is not a good thing. And if you are offended by my Good and Plenty commentary, good. Okay. Where everyone went. You guys that offended by my Good and Plenty commentary? Whoa. Now these guys, I don't know, people find Good and maybe somebody like some big like Good and Plenty fans were like watching for a minute and now they're like, no, screw you and your Good and Plenty hatred. So Nelson, we got to figure out when we can meet up and I can give you your team. Excited to see those shown up on the board. Either tomorrow or Thursday? Okay. Oh, tomorrow I don't think I can do. Well, I'll see. I think I have late meetings tomorrow. For some reason I thought tomorrow was Tuesday. Like Tuesday I might be able to do. Alright. So here we go. Hey, sweetie. Hi. Sure. We're just doing a little streaming. You don't have a big camera? Okay. Yeah, it's fine. You want me to cut off? I can cut off the face cam. You want me to turn it off? I don't care. I mean, sure, sure. Yeah. Yeah, it was. Well, congratulations on getting them to sleep. Yeah, that would be you. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna move on to. I need another color here. It's like a brown color. Actually, before I do that, it's okay, babe. Um. Oh, the cat's down here? Yeah, you can let him in. My fur son. That's, I get it. I get it. Okay, so I'm gonna use this mud brown, and that's gonna, on simple minis like these, it scares you? Yeah. Oh, sorry, yeah, I'm kinda, him? No, he can stay. You're allowed to stay too. You can stay if you want. Alright, good night, sweetie pie. Love you. Alright. So I'm just trying to get the skin bits here, which isn't much. Now, believe it or not, I don't know that I'm gonna actually go through and paint all these eyeballs. I don't know. I might. Why am I like so badly out of focus? 1 second. Let's fix that. Okay. I need this focus to... There we go. Need a little more foreground. There we go. Okay. So you can see what I'm doing here. There's not much skin showing on these minis, which is good. So it should be... These are gonna paint really fast. And I got a cat that's really bugging me right now. Oops, did I not get his little hands? Whoa, a little too much there. Okay. They look a little silly. They look a little ridiculous. Alright, so then you got this. Alright. Really? So there's a few corrections I need to make. They're not terrible though. They're not like earth-shattering or anything like that. Just some minor stuff. Okay. Okay. And finally, we're gonna do. I'm gonna paint this little recorders and the hands around the recorders a sort of brown color. Problem with like pink is it's super hard to cheat on the color, right? This isn't the kind of color you can just hit with like Agrax Earthshade and everything will be fine, you know? And I think the barding, like the all the armor, I think we're gonna hit with this color like that, and then we're gonna wash it down. Actually, I probably should paint these backpacks, like the provisions, brown as well. I guess these are monks based on the beads that they have. I like how these guys have the backpacks. And they have the little bottles of like rice wine and stuff. Okay. And then on these other guys, so the armor is going to be this color. Oops. Yeah. so quiet. That's okay. That's okay, you guys. We will paint all of the rising sun. It is a cool looking game. These minis do look pretty cool. Oh! I don't know, I felt the need to do that. That's all I really want to do. Gold-wise on that. Yeah, that's all I really want to do. Just a little bit of the shoulder pad. Little Space Marine. Space Marine! Hey guys, Rising Sun at Space Marine! Yeah, shoulder pads and spikes. It's just like 40k, you guys. I don't know who's saying this. Somebody that really is excited to see 40k in every game. It's just like 40k, you guys. I remember when that used to be like a draw. Those weird sounds of Japanese warriors sometimes make me laugh, like the grunts and stuff. I love it, man. It's rad. I get all of those Japanese sounds from cool video games. And if you're offended by that, cool. Those are cool video games. Used to do all the Japanese sounds. Alright. This guy has like some cool like dragon thing. Right? And then getting there. Okay. Doing pretty well, actually. So now we're gonna do a little bit of black in the black areas. What impossibly? What impossibly? Alright. So now, a little bit of the black. This is going to be used mainly on like feet, hair, shadowy parts of the armor. Get a little bit of water in there. Okay. Just like little bits of hair here are gonna be black. And then the contrast on the blade should also be black, the bottom. There we go. Just starting to paint up super quick. For some reason, I think lavender looks great on minis, especially paired with black. I think it's a good pairing. It's crazy how get. There we go. Hurrah! What purple are you using? I'm actually using, I use a couple of different pinks, sunset red, and then squid pink, and then I'm actually using black ink to shade it. Or not black ink, purple ink to shade it. Violet ink, I should say. Really does not take much to paint these. I'm actually pretty impressed. And they look good. You do a little bit of work on them, and they're really not bad at all. Oops, I need a little more black on this. They're almost done. Actually, I'm gonna just to get black on these minis. The swords, the sheaths will be black. So quick. Just psh, psh. Yeah. All right. So now let's do the bases. And this is just going to be browns and greens. I need a brown first. It's not a good brown. Let's find a good brown. Thought I had a good brown up here. I thought I did. I don't see it anymore though. Okay. We're gonna try a different type of shortcut because I'm trying to preserve my browns. Alright. So we're going to start off with this sort of greenish. We're going to do the entire thing green. All right. Just real quick, man. You can see how they just sort of pop immediately once I do the base a different color. Suddenly they start to show up. It's a cool thing. Okay. We are moving pretty damn fast through these. And instead of using a brown airbrush paint to do the brown effects, I'm going to use an ink. Because when in doubt, you can pretty much always use an ink to get you by. I still don't understand why somebody at CQ the other day was asking me, like, what do you use inks for? And I told her, everything. It's shocking to me that people don't use more inks. Inks are so damn versatile, you can use them for everything. I'm like short on paint, I'm like sweating, oh, I may not have enough paint. Guess what? I have ink. I can paint. I'm actually going to use a pale brown though. But it's true though. If you have ink and you have glaze medium, you can do practically anything. And they're so easy to use. There's a couple up. This is how lazy I am. Look, it's 2 spots of brown on every model. And it looks like a variegated earthscape. That's right, people. This is speed painting. Hey, what's up, Dicey Guy? Welcome to the feed. Alright. Look at that. And now we can turn the airbrush off for the night. But like, yeah, dude. Gotta do the speed painting, man. Trying to get Rising Suns to a playable state. What's cool though is like these minis are, the sculpts are good enough such that as long as you allow the detail to show through, they're gonna look good. As you can see, I've hardly done, I mean, all I did was color block them. Like, a lot of people could just field those and go, okay, I'm done. Like, a lot of people would just say, they're done. Doing good, man. Welcome to the feed. But we're not quite done. We're gonna drive our contrast up a little bit. And then we're gonna tone, and then we're gonna basically shade everything down. Contrast. So this is where you use like a bone color. You don't use a pure white, you use like a bone white. And you do your power dry brush on these. All right. It is late at night here in Southern California. So, but good morning to you, sir. Good morning to all of our other viewers. Welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting, what you should be painting. Tonight, we are working on the Lotus clan here from Wrath of Kings. And we are cooking. We are cooking with fire right now. So we're doing a dry brush here. Not so much to get crazy detail done. I'm really just trying to get like a highlighted edge down from which to work. Ooh, little heavy-handed there. I don't want this stuff to be too powdery. But that's gonna... So I just wanted to pick up on a little bit of the edge. You'll be working on Grebo, Bretonian Blood Bowl team when I can paint. So happy to catch you live. Thanks, man. I do appreciate you tuning in live. And yesterday I was watching you paint your Blood Bowl team. Good luck learning Blood Bowl. It is... Oh, man. Nelson's watching. Oh, man. I gotta be careful. Alright, I'm just gonna say it. Blood Bowl is one of my favorite all-time miniature games, okay? It's one of my all-time favorites. I've been playing Blood Bowl for over 10 years, and it is the last GW product I will actually say is good. This is some crazy praise coming from me. I really do love Blood Bowl. It's a totally different animal, though. It is really unlike any other game you can think of. You know, a lot of people compare Guild Ball, Dread Ball to Blood Bowl, but Blood Bowl is really its own entity. The way that it's played and how you approach a league, and the fact that it's very anti-miniatures game. One of the things to learn in Blood Bowl that I tell people is that Blood Bowl is 100% of the game is risk mitigation. Well, not really. I'll say 85% of the game is risk mitigation, and the last 15% is luck. You know, if you're a good Blood Bowl player, you're a good Blood Bowl player. But like they say, Nuffle happens, man. Nuffle's gonna come for you. Which Blood Bowl teams you still have? Sadly, the only Blood Bowl team I have left is my Gaspez Arts Slan team, which is no longer officially recognized by GW. Well, it was never officially recognized by GW. It was when GW didn't give a shit about Blood Bowl that, you know, the Slan teams showed up in LRB 5. And they're a pretty popular team. You know, a lot of people liked that team because it played 3D Blood Bowl in a 2D world, basically. Very, very interesting team. A high-risk team. But yeah, I sold off. I had like 3 High Elf teams. Because High Elves were my before Slan, and if I was forced to pick a team today, an official team, I would play High Elves, especially in a league setting. High Elves they're still my favorite team in the league setting. Pro Elves are super fun too. Would love to play. You know, I would strongly consider Pro Elves. Maybe my first season back, I would play High Elves, and then the second season I'd be like, okay, I'll play a Pro Elf team this season. Pro Elves are a little bit trickier to master, especially team management, where you have. Do you love it more than Guild Ball? Well, here's the thing. I think that you can love these two games because they both fill very different niches. Everyone compares the two games, but you can't compare them. They're very different. For example, Guild Ball really comes into its own as a tournament game. You know, you show up for the day, you pick your 10-man roster in Guild Ball, and you play that tournament, and you play it precise, and you play to win, and you play well, and hopefully you do well, right? Guild Ball is a much more balanced game with tighter rules that are, you know, that are easier to understand for all players, but really comes into its own when you're talking about playing a one-day tournament. That's what Guild Ball does, and it's beautiful for that. Anytime I want a pickup game of Guild Ball, I can play a pickup game of Guild Ball, and I would say that Guild Ball is by far one of the best miniature games I've ever played, if not the single best, like, competitive style sports game. Blood Bowl is the opposite, okay? Blood Bowl really only comes into its own if you're going to play a league. You can play one-off tournaments of Blood Bowl, but it doesn't really shine that way. There's a lot of ways. I've looked at single-day tournaments, and I've played in single-day tournaments for Blood Bowl, and there's a lot of, let's just say, there's a lot of shenanigans you can pull, you know, metagaming for Blood Bowl. Like, you know, if it's a single-day tournament, there are certain teams that are automatically better than other teams. For example, if you're playing, like, the last, I looked at the rules for the last the last CQ Blood Bowl tournament, and I was explaining to Andrew that, okay, because they're not allowing you to buy skills, and it's a one-off tournament, you don't care about deaths or injuries or anything. You're just playing to win that one game, and then you play to win the next game, and you play to win the next game. What will serve you best would be to play a Skaven team or a Wood Elf team. And I can say that with the utmost conviction because they have the best skills out of the gate. They're gonna score touchdowns out of the gate. They're gonna win, right? Conversely, if you're playing in a league, you can play a chaos like a Nurgle team. You can play orcs. You can play dark elves. You can play these teams that are going to do amazing once they start getting skills. So that's the thing about Blood Bowl. It's not a balanced game, and it never will be a balanced game, and it was never intended to be a balanced game. You play Blood Bowl to excel in a league, and you build the team based on its own inherent strengths and your abilities as a coach. It's the best and worst part of Blood Bowl. Conversely, Guild Ball, I'm working on my 6-man union roster, building towards a 10-man roster. That 6-man roster is going to be as good as it ever is, and there's no questions asked. There's no questions about, do I have to take it up, do I take them up a skill tree? It's the lineup and the lineup alone. So, very different games, and both are spectacular games. I would say every couple of years, I get that itch to play some Blood Bowl, and they're great. Dude, I hate painting those little bastards. What are you talking about? Balance is never fun in my opinion. Well, balance, here's the thing, and I agree with you for the most part, but I used to tell people that balance is overrated. I still feel that way. I feel like game balance is overrated. Game balance does not equate fun. What game balance does when you have it is it gives you a viable tournament organized play scene. It does not equate fun, right? It equates fun if you say, I'm going to play this game competitively, I'm going to play in tournament scenes. Then yeah, it's going to be fun. I had to paint 100 goblins, worst decision of my life. But but Guild Ball even is not 100% balanced. You can argue that there are situations and styles that are going to favor certain teams over other teams. But Guild Ball is a lot closer to balance than Blood Bowl is, like a lot closer. If I had to play a game every day, my favorite, then I'm going to pick Guild Ball between Blood Bowl and Guild Ball. If I had to play a game every day, I'm going to play Guild Ball. If I have a solid week to game, and I can only play one game system, and it's going to be the same group of people day in and day out, I'm playing a Blood Bowl league. And that's just kind of how it goes. That's just how those two games shake out, in my opinion. Like I said, both phenomenal games. Painting wise, Guild Ball's gonna win every time. And the reason why Guild Ball's gonna win every time is because they don't have, the uniforms they're not as specific and strict as Blood Bowl uniforms are. Blood Bowl is like, a full roster is 16 men. And of those 16 men, probably a good 8 to 12 of them will be linemen. So you're going to be painting the same sort of mini over and over again, like 12 times. Not as fun as painting a Guild Ball team where you get a lot of characters. Every player is an individual player. Your kitchen table, dude? But yeah, dude, you know what I miss about Blood Bowl is I do miss those crazy plays. Okay, so Blood Bowl is all about drama, in my opinion. Blood Bowl is kabuki theater on a game board, okay? And the reason why I say that is my number one advice for Blood Bowl players, and a lot of veteran Blood Bowl coaches will agree with me, is simple. Don't pick up the dice, okay? You pick up the dice, only when you absolutely have to. Only when you absolutely have no choice, you pick up those dice, and you clench those butt cheeks, and you sweat, and you cry a little inside, and you're, oh my gosh, because of the sudden death rule, which is a lot of people consider it their favorite rule, and to a lot, it's the least favorite rule of Blood Bowl, is the sudden death rule. But sudden death is what makes Blood Bowl high drama. Like TNT, this is drama, right? It is crazy shit, man. I've never stressed out about a single die. I mean, my Blood Bowl dice still have my sweat on them. Every time you have to pick up a die and roll that in Blood Bowl, you are shitting bricks, right? You're supposed to play, again, it's risk mitigation. You play your entire game around never picking up those dice. And when you do pick up those dice, I swear to you, your opponent will look at those dice and they will be thinking, one, just roll a one, just roll a one, just roll a one, just roll a one. And the tension is, oh, it's beautiful and awful, and it's just the most beautiful woman that's gonna break your heart, and come back, and you're just gonna chase her. You're just gonna chase her around the block because you love her. You love Nuffle. That's Blood Bowl, man. A single dice roll. Every time you've got to pick up the dice in that game, you are shitting bricks. You are freaking out, right? That's the key to Blood Bowl. That's what makes it such a damn good game. It's, you can have the best plan. You can be the smartest player. But it's still, you still have to roll that damn dice. And if that dice says no, you are screwed. If you line up a 3-die block and you are positive you are going to do something, and you roll them triple skulls, them coconuts as we call them. Oh my god. When in Blood Bowl, when you have your star player that was with you since the very first game, he caught the very first pass in the season opener for you, and you're in the final game of the regular season, and you're like, you know, I shouldn't risk him. Let's put him in. Let's get a little skills. You put him in. A little goblin walks up to him, kicks him in the shins. He falls over. His armor breaks. He dies. You roll that apothecary roll, and he's still dead. And just like that, your star player, your franchise player, your Michael Jordan, dead. And just off a single dice roll, just breaks your heart. Blood Bowl, man. That Blood Bowl is just, oh, it's just so awful and just so damn good. Like, you can't not look. I've and I tell that story from experience. I've had at least two seasons where my star player has died in the final game of the regular season on a throwaway play when I shouldn't have even put him on the board. But you're like, whatever, he's not gonna die, he's armor 9. I have an apothecary. He's gonna live. And some stupid, just the dumbest, garbage little player walks up to him, throws that those block dice, and your guy's dead. And you have to go into the playoffs minus your best player. It's just, oh my god, it just hurts the soul. It hurts your soul, and you're gonna come back and play that shit again. That's all I gotta say. Blood Bowl is a life lesson that balance is definitely not everything, and predictability is not why you play these games. That's Blood Bowl. I know, I'm just singing my praises. I'm of this game because as much I'm not a fan of GW. I'll tell you guys, I'm not a fan of GW. I don't like their products. I'm bored with their aesthetics. I was just thinking that today. I'm like, yeah, GW makes really nice looking stuff, but to me, I've been been looking at GW shit for over 25 years. No matter what, everything that they've come up with in the past 10 years has not presented anything new or eye-catching to me. I'm like, okay, Space Marines are getting bigger. Okay, they're getting bigger. Okay. Nothing that they've done. It's because they have that aesthetic that they can't really break. A GW miniature is unmistakable. You can easily pull it out of the pack. You know that's a GW miniature. It's the best and worst thing. But anyways, what I'm getting at is I'm not a fan of GW. I'm not. But Blood Bowl is, it is a beautiful, beautiful, awful, miserable, horrible, wonderful sport. That's all I gotta say. Best thing in the world though when it happens to my good friend and opponent. You know, there's some people that love to kill other people's players. And there's some people that just feel awful when it happens. I had a pro elf team one year, and pro elf teams are notorious for just dying. Right? They have shitty armor. They start off with really, outside the positionals, they don't really have good stats. They don't have starting skills, so they just die all the time. You're just that's the problem with pro elves is you're constantly battling a dying roster, and but this particular season I had a pro elf army or a pro elf team. I guess they're called Union Elves. I don't know, GW. But I killed so many other players with that team. It's ridiculous. I had like a pro elf lineman that just was racking up casualties because he's just always that one piece. He just gets in there and just kills people. It's hilarious. But I do love. You love GWSF preview. Yeah, I mean, I don't love GW. It's just my personal bias. I'm just tired of seeing it. It hasn't. I don't know. I can appreciate the quality of the minis, and especially the quality and the artistry of the people that paint the minis. But it's just, for me, it's just like, it just looks like yesterday's news. It just doesn't, they haven't come up with, I mean, they keep making the models bigger and bigger and bigger, and they're getting busier and busier and busier, but then, I don't know, it's just me. So, just my opinion, not a big deal. Oh, man. Oh, man. Just totally chuffed that. But yeah. Yes, I do like Blood Bowl. I do think Blood Bowl is by far the best game that they've ever made. And I was more than happy to play it when GW couldn't give two shits about it. It was almost my middle finger to the company. Would make sweet love to her if she was a lady. I had some really crazy, ridiculous high elf teams back in the day. Super, super accurate QBs that couldn't be intercepted. You know, they could throw a long bomb on a 2 because you get the agility bonus plus accurate. Plus, I think strong arm. I would get stuff like that. It would be amazing. Them older ladies do the stuff the new ones don't. Oh man. That guy jumped ship. Alright. I didn't give a proper dry brush on the daimyo, did I? Am I just bad? Hold on. Okay. Okay. Did I? Yeah, I don't think I did. Yeah, I definitely did not. Oh gosh. Sometimes I just... Alright. Sorry, keep knocking the camera. Okay, so now we're gonna blend, basically blend all this back together. Now that we left this like crusty dry brush on everything. So we're gonna blend all the purple together, and then we're gonna blend the gold and the black together, okay? So, let's start with the purple. And we're gonna go back with this sunset red color. And this is, again, we make this into a glaze. Mix it with some glaze medium. And a drop of flow improver. And we're going to use this to kind of blend everything. Saying that the young ones have energy like, woo, talking about game companies. Oh. Well, here's the thing. I don't really like the game companies. There's very few... Well, I can't even really name a game company I like. There's some that I respect, but even the ones I respect, you know, will always make a questionable call, at least in my opinion. So, like, perfect example of that would be Steamforged Games. I love Steamforged Games because they make good games. They make, obviously, they make Guild Ball. They make the Resident Evil 2 game. They make Dark Souls. They make, what was the other one? Mechs vs. Minions. Like, they have a good catalog of stuff, right? And another one of my favorite things about them is they make their games. They managed to make their games more affordable when it, you know, after it got popular, which is unheard of for a miniatures company, right? So I like that about Steamforged Games, but they don't always make the right call, right? The thing with the plastic fish and the butchers going to Indiegogo, I didn't think that was a very good call. So, you know, while they're one of my more, I guess I look at them more favorably than other miniature companies. I can't really say I like the company. And you know, I used to defend GW tooth and nail for the 15 or so years that I actively played GW, and I'm like, no, I'm still buying their stuff. I'm still keeping my collection because I'm too far in. I've invested too much money in it, you know. But people tell me about you know, their experience with GWs. That's all like stuff I've said. So I don't fault anybody for feeling the way they do. Steamforged was started by two competitive War Machine players, Rich Loxham and Matt Hart. They were competitive. They were competitive War Machine players, and they wanted to play Blood Bowl using War Machine rules, and that's what they came up with, and I think they did a great job. You can see this is definitely they're bringing this the daimyo back to the pink color. But yeah, I really like Steamforged games. You know, and then conversely, you know, I volunteer for Ninja Division. But that's a company that I think has some really cool products and some fantastic themes for their products. But, you know, being honest with you, they really haven't had the best success managing their Kickstarters and, you know, fulfilling on their word to their customers. I mean, let's just be honest with it. So, but I still really like their products. Yep. Yes. What's it called? Matt, whatever, forget his name. Yeah, Privateer was started by former GW guys. Ay, 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 messing up the daimyo here. Oops. So, yep, you can see how the pink glaze there is gonna leave a more vibrant color at the end of it. So you don't really even need like a heavy layer of it. In fact, the more transparent this glaze goes down, the better. I'm just kind of using it as both a wash and a tint to kind of bring everything back together. Because when you airbrush, you know, the airbrush tends to desaturate the colors. Everything looks too flat and too dry. And so this is gonna leave the lighter and the dark transitions in the mini. It's gonna leave some of the purple in there. It's gonna leave the white in there if you go thin enough. But that's kind of the idea here. I use a lot of different brands, but for the most part, I use Vallejo, both the model color and the game color. And then I also use a lot of Reaper. For my inks, I tend to favor the Privateer Press inks. The P3 inks are some of my favorite of all. And then for washes, I use the Citadel washes. So I'm not really brand loyal. It just depends on what, in my experience, has given me the results that I like. And that's kind of how it shook out. But most of my like accessories, like my glaze medium and my airbrush thinner and all that kind of stuff, is Vallejo. Okay. So now they're definitely going back to the pink that they were originally. And they might look a little ridiculous at the end of this, but that is the color that they were. This is pink. And if I don't like it, you know, I can always... This thing about glaze is you just take a damp brush and you can pick it up. If I don't really like this, what I'm probably going to do is just take the purple ink and reshade it. House pink for Rising Sun. I think I kind of... started to mix transparent medium from my mission models and my paints to glaze. Yeah, it's... I love glazing. I love glazes and inks are my favorite things to use now. Once you understand what you can do with them and you kind of build your system around using them, it's just so easy to get the kind of effects you want, and you can really kind of pinpoint your final look of stuff once you understand how glazing really works. And you just paint. For me, I just paint really confidently with it because I know, okay, it's gonna look weird for a second here, and then it's gonna, once everything dries down, it's gonna look great. And then when you seal it, it's gonna look even better. But all the colors are going, on these models, all the colors are going back to where they were, where they should be. Because they were, this clan was looking really lavender there for a second, and that's not what we want. That's not what this clan is supposed to look like. It's supposed to look pink. It's it is the Lotus clan. And if you're ever unsure of your color, you just lift your model up, look at the base. Never thought I would ever paint an army full of pink ninjas. What's your sealer? I use two different kinds of sealers. I use a Rust-Oleum gloss sealer, and then I follow up with Tester's dull coat, and that gives me maximum protection, and I can control the sheen depending on the number of layers of dull coat I do. I usually only do one of each layer, which gives me kind of a, you know, a satin type finish on most of the minis. is late. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna finish these guys tonight. Why not? We're this far. Looks like a couple hours we'll finish a faction for this game. So it's good. You know, one faction a night. I can manage that. And I can kind of, you know, paint them in discrete blocks. Like, you know, I'm gonna do a couple of these this week, and then I'll probably get a commission towards the middle of the week. I'll work on the commission, and then in the weekend I'll paint another set of these. Maybe by paint day I'll be painting a monster for this, or 2 or 3. They're awesome. Beating someone with the girly color. Thanks, man. I do think these will look cool. I mean, as an army, I think they already kind of look cool. Alright, so now we're going to use a brown ink and do, it's like a sepia ink we need, and we're going to do a bunch of the like the armor. If I can find my brown ink. That's always the trick, isn't it? Shoot. You know, the most embarrassing part about this is I literally just bought another ink to specifically avoid this issue. Like, I bought another brown ink. So it would be like, oh, I always know I have a brown ink. But no. It was a good plan. I still can't seem to find... this will work. Struggling with getting Vallejo sealers. Yeah, I don't... I've tried Vallejo sealers and I'm not a fan. I'm not really a fan of those. Now I have black ink here too. Now I have black ink here. So I'm gonna make like an umber ink glaze. Oops. So you might use like an Agrax Earthshade instead of doing what I'm doing, which which also works just fine. I like this as this gives me a bit more control than a wash. Or a wash is really gonna easily stain. This gives me quite a bit more control. Okay. Gotta love the basket head, guys. Alright. So I guess if I was in a rush to get this done, it looks like I could do a 4-player set of Rising Sun in about 5 days, 5 nights of painting. Because 1 night per faction. Unless I really pushed, maybe I could do 2 factions a night. And then I'd probably spend at least a whole night on monsters. Probably 2 nights on monsters. So monsters are really good sculpts. Saw a lot of people swearing to Dale and Rowing ink. I don't know, I've never really used... My favorite inks are the P3 inks. Those have always done really well. They're strong inks, but they flow out really nicely. You can thin them a whole bunch of different kind of ways, and they give me what I want. So, and they came out with 3 new flesh wash inks, all of which seem to be pretty damn good. And I was like, well, why do they need 3 different flesh wash inks? And then I tried them out, and I'm like, oh, that's why, because they're good. Doing Gangs of Rome. Yeah, the monsters are kind of like... The monsters for this game are not unlike Kingdom Death. They're actually quite really, really nice sculpts, but they're Asian themed. And they're going to be an absolute blast to paint. I was actually half tempted to paint a monster tonight to treat myself instead of starting a faction, but I decided I would paint one of these first. Alright. I've been seeing, I saw so much stuff on Gangs of Rome. I don't know. I really like the idea of that kind of stuff, but if I'm being honest with you, those style of miniatures don't appeal to me to paint. So it's like, okay, that's fun, but if I'm gonna play Gangs of Rome, I would love to use like Arena Rex minis or like really, really nice minis to play that. And then it would seem a little ridiculous because, you know, Arena Rex minis are so hyper stylized that it just wouldn't work. Okay. So now we're just gonna get some armor wash. We're so close to being done right now. Whoa, that was weird. And this is gonna be real simple, just whoa. A little too heavy right there. It's going really fast now. All right. All right. Not bad. So now, let's glue. Do I have enough tufts to do this? I do. Do I want? I kind of want flowers though. I think flowers look better. Let's do that. Again, we're gonna do this super fast. flowers will be cool. Just gives them a little bit of character, a little bit of interest. I love using these little flowers on Asian theme minis, like my Shilhan and stuff for Wrath of Kings has stuff like this, and I think it's awesome. Just, it's the easiest thing in the world to do, and it makes your stuff look better automatically. That little splash of color. Alright, so we go like this. Alright. Nearly done, guys. Okay, so now the last thing that we have to do is just paint the bases, and we're going to paint the bases sunset red again, and we're not going to use a glaze this time. It's just going to be solid color. That's the color it needs to be in order for you to tell what faction it is. This might look awful, but we're going to try it anyways. This may be a huge mistake. I'm going to have to take them off these to do this. As you can see by the underside that they really are this like pink, they are supposed to be this pink color. So this just helps to further identify them so you know what faction they are specifically, even if you're not looking directly at the minis, which have the same color theme in them. Should be no question as to what faction we're talking about here. So maybe it's about 3 hours or so to paint a faction. It's probably going to be easier with standard colors that I'm more familiar with, like red or blue factions. Those are going to be easier to paint, I think. Pink faction is definitely a new one for me. And I'm probably going to have to go back and I'm probably going to have to go back and two-coat all of the bases to get them solid pink. Right? You can't really get this in one coat, so... And it's better to just do 2 thinner layers. I think black rims would look way sharper, but... Then you don't know what faction these guys are, or you're not sure. Alright. Sorry, a lot of just dead air there. I'm almost done. I'm gonna have to lower the camera down so you can kind of see what we're working on. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know, man. This pink is awful for painting the rim. It's just not a good pink. My pink ninjas. Now you can see why I always pick I start with my least favorite factions and paint my way up when I'm working on large projects like this. Alright, just let it all dry. Right. So I might as well, I'm going to start tackling the second coats right now. You can see it's covering a lot better now. Just 2 coats, it's not bad. I just have to question. This is really a good look for these minis. Even though functionally, it's the correct thing to do. So I need to actually have, I want to have actually 6 factions painted for this. All right. Okay. Okay. All right, guys. So yeah, with that, I mean, these are what I would call tabletop ready. You can play these and be totally fine. Let me get this off here. So let me show you guys what we're looking at. Let's get a little focus on these guys. They're definitely very much drying right now. So this is the pink faction, or what are they called? The Lotus clan. Let's go ahead and get them into focus so you can see. There we go. Alright. So overall, not terrible. I mean, it's a miniature range that should paint up pretty quickly. And, you know, you just stick to simple color schemes. I'm fairly happy with them. So that's that clan. And next up, for the next time I start painting Rising Sun, I think the next the next clan I'll be working on is this is the Bonsai clan, and they're a yellow clan. So, and they have, you know, each of the clans has 3 sculpts, and then the daimyo, right? So you get, and this isn't, again, these aren't the greatest sculpts, but you get that dude, you get the big, like, rock hammer guys, you get, and then you get these guys, kind of like the, I don't know what, it looks like he has, I don't know what that is. It's either a Gatling gun or firework launcher or something. So these aren't the most impressive sculpts. Here's the daimyo for that clan. Not terribly impressive again, but you know, they should paint up pretty quick. You guys saw the entire process from these, like start to finish, right? Just throw a little bit of texture on them, and then a lot of airbrushing, some dry brushing, and then some washing. That was about it. Paint some eyeballs. Yeah, so that's what we got. All right, guys. So with that, we're gonna call this feed to a close. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the Rising Sun Lotus clan. Interesting, pink ninjas, but yeah, pink ninjas kind of worked. All right, so with that, we're gonna call this feed to a close. Want to thank everybody for watching. Have a good night, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.